What I think that's really going on is the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
The Old Tube Radio Network. Don't forget to feed the fish. Don't forget to feed the cat. And I guess, more importantly, don't forget to feed yourself. And when you are done, bring you, your radio, and some glowing-in-the-dark tubes to 27085, Channel 11. And it just might be the Old Tube Radio Network. Hello, everybody. Indeed, it is at least this version of the Old Tube Radio Network from the Central Valley of California on Channel 11. As you can hear, the frequency, the channel is very, very quiet, so I'm hoping that's not an antenna malfunction. We might have some activity later on. The sunspot cycles, the numbers have been up, the solar flux has been up. Those of you who have been around the band are well aware of how good the conditions have been. If you would like to talk 151 and a half miles away or more, if you'd like to talk down the street, it might be a problem, but that doesn't seem to be that way tonight. We will be chatting with the tube radio operators coming up. We will also be checking in with our SWLs right now. Thanks for joining us. And as always, stay on the air. Do whatever it is you need to do to get on. Cycle 25 is having a good run here. All right, with that said, let's go to our roll call and get 00 checked in. And I will keep an eye on it. I do believe that Neil will come by at some point if he hasn't already. I don't think he's stopped by just yet, but he will say hello. Radio, a lot of you stopping by. I know that Mr. JT had to be away from the air chair tonight to attend to some important business. He will be back next week, so those of you joining us from Old Radio Night, thanks for listening. If you've never joined us, this is something that we've been doing on the air for the last 35 years or so. Maybe it's 37. It's been a long time. It's been since the mid-1980s, where we all get together to recreate the sights and sounds of your citizen band radio as it might have been when those glow-in-the-dark tube radios were brand new out of the box, and we ask help from our tube radio collectors who oblige often, and we'll be talking to them later. Roll call. You'll be able to see if I press the right buttons here, the check-ins up above the screen. If you're watching us at oldtuberadio.net, and you jump into the picture there, it takes you to a YouTube video. Otherwise, you can listen to the audio stream or just turn on your radio, your receiver at 27085 if it is working. We'll get a check-in for SWL number 1 and also for SWL number 2, who will be around shortly. Also a proxy check-in for Rob, who I believe is working on seeing if we can get our database crashed again, or if something happens where we can't access the picture Rolodex. So hopefully we will have that up and running by the time the radios check in. But if not a problem, because we need to hear them. Seeing them is a nice thing as well. Let's go to SWL number 5. And I'm looking for Mr. Rainmaker. He might be there. Before I do that, let me just take a pause and see if there's any stations that would like to get checked in to get out of the cold or do whatever it is they need to do OTR listening for early check-ins.
Thank you, Dennis. Pinedale Control checking in.
All right, Pinedale Control, I hope you have had a good week, and the weekend is progressing. You sound good. Thanks for checking in.
It's been a good week. Ooh, sorry about that. It's been a good week. Got back to work. And yes, it is cold out here in my little shed in the carport, but thank you for that. Everybody have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks for stopping by. Anybody else need a quick check-in here before we get going again?
WL145.
All right, 145. Hello, Tony. Well, I'm sorry to say I'm not using any 3 500Zs. I wish I had a few of them here on the radio, but I wouldn't be able to tell you if I did. Over.
Okay, very good. I had a good day at Hams, helping Hams. I had about 11 people show up, help me put up my dipole finally.
All right, what frequency is your dipole running?
I think I had a good match on 20 and 40, and I forgot what else. But one of the numbers he sent me uses FT950 for a while till my replacement radio comes in. So he checked it. It works on 80, 40, 20, 10. So it's pretty good. Got a pretty good match.
All right, most excellent. The bands have been good all the way around. 10 has been open, AM, FM, sideband. There's a contest going on today. I think it's over already, but yeah, you should be able to do some good stuff with that. And it's amazing what you can do with 100 watts and a wire. Good deal. And thanks for stopping by with us tonight.
Okay, appreciate the early check-in. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, the old Tube Radio Network. Real radio is going in the dark on the directed net roll call. Mudbucket 483 says welcome to the weekend and the OTR network tonight. Lavon, we've got the X in the square. Thanks for listening. Let's go to SWL7.
Well, good evening to one and all. SWL7 checking in.
All right, sounding good. Thanks for joining us tonight. Also get 5 and 145, and that will take us up to SWL 10. And I'll get 10 in the box. I think I've got the right thing up there. Yeah, I do. And Chrissy is joining us from Idaho, where it has been cold here in the Central Valley. I have a friend that's up near Boise and Meridian, and I think they were showing some pretty cold temperatures with some wind chills, so hopefully Chrissy, you and Dwayne are keeping warm up there. Thanks for listening in tonight. SWL 11, Mr. Cornbread. Checking to see if somebody said Fresno. I think I may have said Fresno at some point in my opening statements, but that's okay. I think the FCC allows us to say it a couple times an hour without getting in trouble. So we've got you checked in. And over to SWL 12, Dapper Dan, the ladies' man, also joining us tonight on the old Tube Radio Network. Looking good, sounding good, and feeling good, then it must be good. Thanks for checking in. SWL 13. Mikey, Mr. Cobra will probably check in when he gets near the radio later on, so we'll give him a proxy for now. Let's go over to Sangertown, SWL 14.
SWL 14, checking in from Sanger. Hope you're having a great evening, Dennis, and all the other SWLs out there.
I am doing good. Boy, big signal, sounding loud. My noise level is just not even on the chart. I thought maybe the antenna was not functioning, but it definitely is. You're sounding good. Hope all is well that way as we sort of try to dry out around here.
Yeah, everything's going good, and yeah, your signal is very strong out here in Sanger tonight as well. So thanks for the OTR tonight.
All right, glad to be in the air chair tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network, oldtuberadio.com, oldtuberadio.net, and I think there's some pictures. Yeah, there they are. They're right there. Some pictures going on somewhere as well. 00147 saying that the weather is cold into the low 30s. It's been that way here. Rain tomorrow. Not sure about conditions. Didn't have the radio on today, but he says shame on me. Well, if you have it on tomorrow, it'll probably be a lot of the same. You're going to hear a lot of conditions all over from the east and the west where you are. So it should be good if you decide to jump up into the air chair. Thanks for joining us, Neil. And we've got you checked in. Over to SWL 16, Charlie up there in Anoka, Minnesota. I'm not sure if he was around yet tonight. I know there was a note pinned near the elevator that said, if I don't make it in time, go on without me, but I will be there. So we'll get you checked in, Charlie. Let's go over to SWL 17. SWL 18. I've got Mike checked in from Facebook. Said to check him in there, and I will do that. Over in Belfast, Maine, by way of Derby, New York, or is it the other way around? On the cue cards, as always tonight, Chet is with us here up in the control room. This is one of the warmer areas with all the lights and the tubes. It may not have all the food, but we have a lot of the fun. All right, got you checked in, Chet. Let's go to SWL 20.
Yeah, number 20 here. Please check me in, Dennis. Also 2954, and because it's real cold, number 135.
Yeah, it's just been a little bit. The sun was out. It was nice if you were standing directly in the light, into the rays tonight, or this afternoon. But other than that, it was chilly. So, okay, we've got Harvey checked in, SWL 20. Good to have you in the air chair, and hope all is well, and we'll probably talk to you in moments.
Oh, you probably will. And also, prepare to proxy me in next week. I'm working and don't know if I'll be back.
Okay, I will make a little note here, as this is the prepare to proxy frequency. This pen I have is not doing. I need to get one of our pocket protector pens. This is a big, huge pen, and it doesn't work very well. All right, thanks, Harvey. We are checking in Mr. 21, who, like I said, is away on special secret business tonight. Actually, I don't think it's so secret, but he's out of the air chair. But we'll get to JT checked in, keeping the Wasama Swamps up and running. He will return next week at Old Radio Night with a specific radio and a microphonium. And I think he's got some fancy new stuff that he'll be hooking up, so we're anxious to see and hear all of that. Over to SWL 22. That is Tyler up in Alaska. I'm looking for the AK on the list. Don't quite see it just yet. The Echo link is open. I see a couple of you there. We will make sure we don't miss you. Saying hello to up in the balcony, Dallas, Georgia. Probably back from the North American CQ. Was that the contest? It's a very short contest. It was interesting. You just give your name and the state. Hello to Boston, Massachusetts. Up there with all the bricks. When I was in Boston, it was like, wow, look at there's just a lot of bricks are on this town. Shinston, West Virginia, Kerman, California, Florence, Kentucky, Inez, Kentucky. The Van Man's out there somewhere. The unknown SWL, you see the paper bag with the rubber ducky. You know who that is. Or maybe you don't know who it is. I don't know. Woodland Park, Colorado, with the beams beaconing to the west here. Great conditions all day. The sun goes down. We're not having that sporadic E. In fact, speaking of which, do I have the big chart? Yeah, I do. Let me see what's going on here. I'm going to put this over to the DX chart. And there we got, well, there it is. We got plenty of nothing on the West Coast. There you go. Look at that, 6 meter openings. You know why? Because the VHF UHF contest is going on this weekend. And when people actually get on the frequencies and ask if anybody's around, it will happen. So you can see that on the East Coast, possible 6 meter activity, because they are churning up the atmosphere with the VHF contest this weekend. So I don't know if we'll have anything going on around here. What else is going on? Hello to Tacoma, Washington, Bowling Green, Kentucky, Mr. Van Man, Los Angeles, and Fresno, always listening in. The Old Tube Radio Network. Direct net roll call, page 1 if you're following along. Mr. 23 Skidoo. Probably out schmoozing with some of the Old Tube radio executives out on the on the yacht or at the restaurant or whatever they do. He's good at keeping us in good favor with the head honchos, so that they don't give us a different time slot or something, or delegate us to a Monday or Sunday mornings at 6 a.m. Let's go to SWL 24.
24, check in. See you later.
All right, thank you, Joseph. Thanks for staying up late for us tonight. We'll catch you next week. Over to SWL 25.
Hello, Dennis, 25 checking in, and I'm hoping your pocket protector is full of pins. Anyway, back to you.
It has a few from prior episodes, and somewhere tonight, and they're shaking his head, that we will have the pocket protector pen at the appropriate time to add another one to that. You are sounding good. Stay warm. Over.
Pretty good, Dennis. Sorry I've been absent. Been kind of busy with other activities, but we had the opportunity tonight to check in, so here we are. Anyway, hello, Dennis, and hello the rest of the SWLs, and have a good weekend. The rest of the weekend, I should say. Anyway, Dennis, back to you.
Back to me in the studio. All right, I've been busy too. I've been missing the Wednesday night nets because I just haven't been around in time to even get a late check-in, but we will see if I can fix that. Thanks for joining us. Somebody just walked in up there. I saw the door open. Oh, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Welcome to you, or somewhere near to it. We'll find out what is going on a little bit later around the studios here. Joining us tonight via the video. Who is up and running? Joining us tonight, we take a quick check here as we are on the direct net roll call. We come into a couple of you. Got an early check-in for Mr. 68. We will do that, Mike. No problem. Northern Redneck saying hello to all you radioactive people. We are definitely radioactive, and I don't feel tingly at all. Foxman 362 checking in tonight. Thanks for joining us. Hello. Eric D, who is watching the video. I don't know if you're watching a little small phone, or some people have it in this big display, which is kind of scary right now when it's only me. When we get the radios, that's the best way to put on the big display. Hello, Mark. Break. We are breaking, and we're trying to broke it as well. Who else is looking for us tonight? Uncle Hairball will be coming up to you, so don't go away. Aaron is in there. We'll be checking him in on the Echo link. It's, where is it? In Rockwood, Tennessee, Foxman 362 with 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what we'll have. Well, it's not 40 tonight, but we'll get down to 40 later on tonight. I do think for sure it was about a 38 last night. 007 Extreme CB says, fine business. Or is it, was it did is the way you do it in CW, to the band, to the airways, joining us from the shores of New Jersey, over. We'll get to, hi, Kenny, I see you in there, SWL 69, we will get you checked in. The 2W2600 joining us as well, the Old Tube Radio Network. Mark your calendars, every Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, that is. John is in as well, and a host of others on your Old Tube Radio Network. And Van Man, we do see you in there. Let's continue. Page 2 for SWL 27. SWL 20. I got to turn my own page here. I'm gonna be off by everything. So SWL 28, Gary out there in Sacramento saying hello to everyone. Pizza and beer in the green room. That's always, I think we always have that off to the side for those finicky eaters like me, but no doubt there is a great main course that you can have. We'll find out about that in just a little bit. Thank you very, Gary, for checking in, and no doubt you are enjoying the nice weather that we are having here in the Central Valley. Over to proxy check-in for Mr. Loner, SWL 29, SWL 30. Dwayne is also there at the ready, at the controls of the Browning, the Eagle And the Robin, just in case that band opens up from here to there, over to SWL 31, SWL 32, shortwave listener 33, myself, Bozo Control. Where is that? Honking proboscis and everyone around here who keeps us on the air. Jimmy's doing well. Seen some pictures. He's back up and running on all the Facebook sites, and that is a good thing. So we'll get Jimmy Railroader and Captain Chaos checked in. They may stop by, as they do on CB Radio, and wave a hand over to SWL 35. And that is, I'll refresh my comments, that is Mr. Bill of the Red Monkey Communications fame. See if he stops by at some point here tonight. Let's go to SWL 36. SWL 37.
SWL 37 here, sitting here daydreaming. Almost missed me. I almost missed you. Anyway, I was here, but my brain wasn't working.
All right, well, this is the brain isn't working frequency. That's why I can key down.
Well, you're doing pretty darn good then, Dennis.
And likewise, as are you, because 37 has the X and the square. Thanks.
Thank you. I wasn't there watching TV, but just dawned on me what time it was, and I said, oh, I got to go.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Google, what time is it? It's time to get your behind into the radio room and take a transmission. You've got it.
Thank you, Dennis.
Chris is checked in. SWL 38. Sam trying as always. I don't know. He's got nice quiet conditions, but we don't have the conditions to get through the quietness. I got you checked in, Sam. Let's go to SWL 39. I'm going to make sure he's there on the right antenna.
Yeah, I heard him out there, Dennis.
All right, thanks. It wasn't enough to get through my noise, but we'll give Dr. Dan and X then the square if you're listening, Dan, whether it's out in the four-stroke mobile or on the tractor, or perhaps watching on the YouTube thing. You are checked in, and I will click the switch here, and it'll make you official by doing, no, that didn't do it. Let me do this. I have to hit that button. Okay, all of a sudden the computer stopped working. There it goes. All right, you're official now, and thank you, Sean.
Yeah, he got it. He said thanks, Dennis.
All right. I can see a beams in my future for pulling the stations out that are doing a good job, but just aren't getting through the trees around here. Let's go to SWL 40. Oh, and I did see SWL 16 jumping in there. I think I got you checked in. You had the note over by the elevator saying that to start without me, but I'll be there. And he left a couple of notes, he leaves little Post-it notes for me to do this, and don't forget to straighten your tie and all that stuff. So, all right, good. He's in. A local FM station left the air, got them up and running, got stuck in the snow on the road that they never plowed. That's the thing. Around here, up in some mountains, they plow it and it snows again. Well, and they don't build a Buick with that snow thing on the front. Some of the old cars had that real pointy front end. Maybe you could just put something on that to plow the snow as you go through. Well, all right, you are back. We are up and running. I can pull all the Post-its off, and good to go. So yeah, go warm up, dry off, and we'll be good for the radio's coming up. Thank you, Charlie. Let's see. We are on page 2. If you're following along, looking for SWL 41. Who is right there checking in. Where did you go? Okay. from Tri-County React, of course, Hudson Valley, New York, saying good evening, and we're saying good evening right back. 507. Let's go to SWL 42. We've got a proxy check in for 43. Crazy Eddie. Let's go to SWL 44. Now, 360 was on the horizontal side last night. I didn't get a chance to switch over to my horizontal wire in time to see if I could hear him on the proverbial flat side. So, no he's there last night on the ditch banks. Let's go up to SWL 45. Hello, Paul. I can hear you down here in Midtown Fresno, and I'm putting the X in the square. Good evening to you and Kelly, over. That's Paul up in North Fork to the north and to the east at about, I don't know, maybe 2,500 feet up there in the cold, crisp, nice, fresh air. Let's try SWL 46. SWL 47.
Well, at an elevation that's much lower than the previous SWL, this is SWL 47 from the Radio Lounge.
All right. Hopefully, all the lights that are supposed to be lit and blinking are blinking in the Radio Lounge, and you sound good.
Yeah, thank you. Everything looks good and smells wonderful. We're talking about vacuum tubes.
That's right. That burning dust. There's the dust smell, and then there's the burning dust smell off the tube. That's always a plus. That means they're working. Got you checked in.
Thank you, sir.
SWL. Let's see. Mike is in SWL 48. I will get Mr. KP checked in. He was in there sounding good last night on the ditch banks. Let's go to Sweet Country Mama Smitty, SWL 49.
West Proxy 49.
Yeah, because if they were near the radio, they'd be checking in and sounding good. So they're probably just away from the air chair. Got them checked in. Reminder that the glow-in-the-dark radios from the 1950s, late 50s to the late 70s will be stopping by your radio and mine. Coming up, the Old Tube Radio Network, what we do best. Let's try SWL 50. Over to Sanger, SWL 51.
SWL 51 checking in.
Sounding good, sir. Dave, we've got you checked in with the X and the square. Sounding good here on AM. Speaking of AM, the AM has been good. I made a couple of 10-meter AM contacts. I made a 15-meter AM contacts, so we're hoping that things stay good, because I'll tell you, I couldn't even make an 11-meter AM contact when everybody's at 20 over and you can't really pick out the station. But boy, you go to some of the other frequencies and there's just one station talking to one station. That's pretty cool. Where are we? Oh, we know where we're going next. Give the Echo link a try for this next station, who is standing by at the ready with the microphone and the headphoniums when I say KB6GFD looking for K6UEY over. I'm sorry, K6USY over.
Well, good evening, Dennis and everyone else on the net. From behind the golden microphone, this is SWL 52.
And you are sounding good. Yeah, your call, the wrong call I gave at the beginning was this guy we used to talk to when we were chatting with Art Bell, and that was his call, and his name was Orv, and he was this perpetual kind of grumpy guy. Very, very unlike you. So you are sounding good, and we've got you checked in. Over.
Very good. Well, next time you can accidentally say my GMRS call sign, and we'll make it fun.
All right, yeah, I've got to get into GMRS and DMRS or DMR and everything else. So I could be full featured here at the control point 73. Thanks for checking in, KB6GFD. And then, let's see, Aaron sounded good on the Echo Link. It's working. Let's go to Mr. Belair. Hello, 53, over.
Yeah, good evening there, Dennis. Yeah, 53, the legend checking in. I want to say good evening up there to Jay Bird if he's out there in the internet. 73, everybody have a good one.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you've got a good point, Bob. If you've got friends and you want them to say, well, what is that CB thing you do? Or what's that tube thing you're doing? You can always direct them to Saturday evenings at oldtuberadio.net, where they can get the audio stream. If they don't have the video going on, they can click into it there. And always feel free to say hello to any of the SWLs listening in. That's why we're here, for everybody to have a good time, to promote radio and to drive those tube radios around the block, and we'll be doing that in just moments. Page 4 is where we are at, getting a check-in for Mr. Board Jammer and looking for M&M, SWL 55.
55, checking in.
All right, and sounding good. Good audio, beaconing down here, so hopefully you are not frozen or wherever you are.
It's not too bad.
All right, that's a good thing. Turning the radio on, even if it's just got a little light bulb and no tubes, does help. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, Dennis.
Over to where are we going? Oh, we're down here in the Flatlands. SWL 56, Phil.
Good evening, Dennis in the net. 56, just for kicks.
Just for kicks, doing good. You are sounding good. And I was looking for the. You know what? I'm not even on the system. Why is that? I'm gonna have to update my system. We do have the weather. I could give the weather here from City College. The weather station. It is 47 degrees, 73% humidity. The winds are 300. So that's like northwest. West-northwest at 0. So it's very calm and there is no rain. So the best place to be is by your radio on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks, Phil. SWL, let's go to BDA, Brown Dog Audio, SWL 57. Who is right there, checking in, reporting a chilly evening in Kentucky tonight. Looking forward to getting some antennas up soon. Yeah, me too. I did a temporary fix on the one that came down in the storm, and it's still not in the right spot for my dipole. Ground plane, beam, long wire, ADSB for air traffic, and more. All right, that is going to be one nice antenna farm. And you know, that's like anything. You can't have too many radios, and likewise, you can't have too many antennas, at least until you talk to your neighbors, right? Got you checked in. Let's go to SWL 58. And SWL 59, Uncle Hairball, who is joining us tonight. On the video side, hope all is well out that way, sir. We've got you checked in. Yeah, somebody asking what channel is OTR, and we are on channel 11, which is, people say, why 11? Because it's one of the big skip channels, like the Super Bowl. Well, the short answer is a lot of the tube radios originally would come with one crystal. That crystal typically would be channel 11. And if you find a radio and it may only have one crystal in it, it seems as though channel 11 is the one that's in most. So that's why we picked that, because it was easy. And we're dealing with a lot of, some 40-channel radios, but a lot of 23-channel radios. So it just seemed to work out well. Even some walkie-talkies have channel 11 in it. So, Robert, I hope that answers your question. Something that we have been doing on channel 11 for since the mid-1980s, most Saturdays here on the Old Tube Radio Network. So thanks for joining us. We are in the directed net roll call to saying hello, getting responses back from our shortwave listeners. And you don't have to have a number, as you just found out, to make a comment and ask a question and join in, and that is pretty cool. And we'll be talking with some radios coming up. Let's go. Speaking of radios, here's a guy that's got a lot of them, SWL60.
Hello there, Dennis. Let me give a shout out to, let me lower this a little bit. Let me give a shout out to Kenny out there in Oklahoma, which he did. I talked to him a couple of weeks ago. Says hello to everybody. He says it's cold up there. Also to Bel Air and Jaybird, if he's listening. SWL60 checking in.
All right, you are sounding good. I think Kenny was on. If he's still not on, he was on just a little bit earlier checking in. I know he comes back on the replay and watches all the stuff. So, yeah, Kenny, we miss you, but by way of the old tube radio, at least we can get you checked in, and you never know. We get some of that good skip coming up. You just may come through the radio. I think that could happen. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Dennis.
SWL 61, Dino.
61, check it in, Dennis.
All right, on the antenna B. It's sounding good here in Midtown.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm out in the garage. I still got the down antenna up there. I need to get a bunch of people together and buy some parts.
Okay, well, hopefully that can happen, but you're sounding good now, and thanks for joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you, sir.
And Robert, down there in San Diego, occasionally we get what's called, I guess it's ducting, it's E-skip, it's the short E-skip, and you are in one of the areas, San Diego, that southern part of the state. Sometimes we'll work here up into, we're in Central California, in the Fresno area. So if we get those conditions, we just might hear you. So listen in if you start hearing wacky stuff. We don't have them just yet. Sometimes I think when it starts warming up, we will get some of the sporadic heat, but you are definitely in the skip zone for that. Over to SWL 62. SWL 63, Butterbean out in North Georgia. SWL 64. And Craig was in earlier, stopping by and checking in, so we got, there it is. Craig is right there. We got you checked in, so let me make it official. And there it goes. Yeah, I do well to your area during the afternoon or early mornings when I'm on the radio. I was checking through some of those remote receivers, and there's one in Missouri. I know that's Zero Land, but man, I can be on 6 watts on that thing sometimes and beacon through. So let's see. 64 is in. Let's go to SWL 65.
Can I proxy him, Dennis?
Indeed. In fact, I was just going to ask, so we will get Eric checked in. No problem.
I texted him, but he didn't make it.
All right, not a problem. As always, people always stop by if they see the red light, the tube glowing, and check in. We got him in. Thanks.
Thank you.
SWL 66. Got a check in for 67. Bill still with internet issues, but he's in another skip zone. We could have to hit up there in Oregon. Let's go to SWL 68. And Michael checked in earlier, New York 157 from New York at the top of the net here. We got you checked in. And speaking of the Tulsa guy, SWL 69, Kenny, here's the official check-in. I saw you earlier, but I wanted to wait and put the X in the square at the proper time. So you are there. Let's go to SWL 70. Mark up, I don't know where he's at now. I always have it up at Morgan Canyon, but he is still working on the new space and the new antenna. I wonder how he fared with the water up there. Haven't heard to see how that went. All right, Dallas, Georgia is where we're going next. SWL 71. Let's see what Stan is doing. See if he was on the contest. Yeah, working the NAQP today. I heard a lot of stations, and I was kind of busy, so I was just listening. I didn't give a point to anybody, but I heard a lot of loud stations on 10, 15, 20, I think 40 was in. It's a short contest. It's a good contest for non-contest people because it doesn't last too long, doesn't take up all day if you don't want it to, and the exchange is easy. It's just I can even do this one. It's your name and where you are, what state you're in. Unless I think if you're out of the U.S. then you don't even have to give your name, or is it your state? I don't know. But anyway, hope you had fun doing that today. And the band was open, so I'm sure you got a lot of out of the U.S. stations as well. So we got Stan checked in. Let's go over to SWL 72. SWL 73. Shortwave listener 74. And Jerry said to check in Miss Jilly, and I will do that. Also, let me say hello to Charleston, South Carolina. We're beaconing all the way over there. Hello, Hemorrhoid. Let's go to SWL 75. SWL 77. Dennis might join us later. Let's go down to Wild Wildemar, SWL 78. I've been listening for Richard on 40 meters, and I haven't heard him because I'm not listening in the right spot. SWL 79, Mr. DC, Philip was in earlier saying hello, radio. SWL 80. And let's see, taking a break from the music studios, no doubt, Big Rich 6520. Saying good evening, as always, to the net control here, the OTR friends and family. I hope all is going well out that way. And I believe it is that time. Is it that time? Yes, it is that time for us to check in with Bob and Steve and see what is happening. See what's been going on this week and what is going on now. Here we go.
27.085 OTR, channel 11.
Whoopee, I got to get a little drink of the special water. What is in this? They brought it to me. It looks like, oh, it's the electrolyte mix, huh? It is not bad. Kind of a tangerine flavor. I guess they don't want me they want me keeling over in the middle of check-ins. Well, I will try to be good. On episode 151 for January 21st, 2023, Bob and Steve, the Monday Night Poker event was a great success. There was a lot of cars out here. There was a lot of people biking in, walking in. I know the limo brought in some people. It did go a little late. The Jingle Singers went to an estate sale. Got a Tram Diamond D201. How do they do that? I go to all sorts of thrift shops, and I can't even find a lamp that works. But here they come back with a Tram Diamond D201 AM. It's the SSB is missing the speaker, which is kind of odd, but it does have a D104 mic. The Chicken Choker. UPS delivered a box from DX Engineering. And I saw that, but I didn't get to pick it up to see how heavy it was. The red and white limos are staying busy. I will open it up. I think Charlie says it's the mic. Oh, all right. Well, maybe I can get rid of it. It's supposed to be a mic pop screen because the one I'm using doesn't fit. So we'll see if we can get that on next week. All right. So he said they may have some other goodies for me from DX Engineering. So I will work on that. Hopefully that works. At the bar tonight from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Speaking of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Let's see. Oh, and Bill, no, that's from last week. I was seeing if Bill has checked in this week from Cheyenne, but he knows all the good places. The Albany out there in Cheyenne, they are set up in the Green Room Lounge. I saw all the catering people setting up the tablecloths, and it's looking good. Charbroiled burgers, I can smell them in here. Choice of fries, soup, side salad, cottage cheese, coleslaw, chips. I'm in on that one. Dessert, cheesecake, or Albany brownie sundae. Join us after the net. You're gonna have to stand in line behind me. Because as soon as the net is done, I am out there. The Jingle Singers added more fish to the aquarium, so there's a lot of more things that I need to not forget, it appears. I do not forget to feed the cats. They let you know. The fish, kind of a different story, but we won't forget to feed any of them here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thank you, gang.
27.085 OTR Channel 11.
All right, that was an old Buzzard transmission. I even think I timed out the transmitter timer. Page 4 is where we're at, the directed net roll call, and working our way up to the tube radios. Over to SWL 81. SWL 82, Mr. Bones.
82 checking in from the Ditch Banks of Biola. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good S-line signal, good forward modulation, a good, very good quality on the audio. Yeah, might be not loud enough for some of those guys that like that 11-meter sound. But, man, it sounds nice and clear, like you were standing right here. Ron is the guy that heads up most Friday evenings at 8 p.m. here on the Central Valley. If you're at 36 lower, which is 27,365, you will... what's the official name? Is it the Ditch Banks? What is the official name of that net?
The Ditch Bank sideband net, and started something... new last night, like anything goes, kind of like a radio tradio, anything, washer machines, bag of rocks, knives, oh yeah, even radio equipment. So yeah, it was something different, and 8 o'clock, lower 36 on Fridays.
Yeah, join us, won't you, locally? Not a problem. If DX is in, he's got a spot for visitors to check in as well. And my bag of rocks was pre-sold, otherwise I would have listed it. Kind of a nice thing, because sometimes you've got all the radio equipment you need, but there's that doily you need for the flower pot, to go up on top of the radio, or maybe you just need a new microwave oven. You just might find it on the Ditch Banks net. Anything goes, but you will find a lot of fun people, so check out the net Friday night. Thank you, Ron.
All right, Dennis, and thanks for running your net. 7-3.
Going to SWL 83. Shortwave listener 84, Jerry was in on the noontime net this week on the Spawn Radio, and I was going to check in, and then I got a phone call. I was going to see how it was going, so I didn't get to officially check in, but I will get to officially check in not only Jerry, but all the ladies, Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and Snowy Owl, 86, 87, and 88 respectively. That takes us to SWL 89. And Cornbread, you're not selling your bag of rocks. You never know. I mean, check eBay for the current price on a bag of rocks. You might change your mind. I'm sure your bag of rocks, even though they're untested, but they seem to be rocks. You just no, you can't return it, because what people do, they take the rocks and put some other rocks in there and then want to send them back to you. But you just might get the price you want for those rocks. Let's go to SWL 90. Let's see, out to the Bronx, up in the area, and I saw the Felix Mobile driving down Fresno today. Or no, it was last night. Even had the window down. It was cold. Well, I don't know. I think in those cars there's not much heat anyway, so you might as well just roll down the window and enjoy it. SWL 91. Felix is in, saying hello to Net Control, all the SWLs and Old Tube radio operators, and he's ready for the sound of those glow-in-the-dark radios, as am I. Over to SWL 92.
Yeah, this is 96 checking in. You sounding good tonight, Dennis, and it's a good job you're doing. So 73s, everybody.
All right, I've had a lot of practice and a lot of help. I've got people here in the studio with the cue cards and Post-it notes that tell me what to do, or in some cases what not to do. So it all works out. Dennis, you are sounding good, and we've got you checked in.
Thank you, Dennis.
So, let's see. Let's go to SWL 93 out there in southern New Jersey. Over to SWL 95. I did see a Warthog 95 checking in from Orlando, Florida. Saying good evening to all, and likewise a good evening out there to Florida. You just heard Kermantown beaconing in quite nicely here into Midtown. Let's head over to Boston for SWL 97. Hello, Jim. I know there was a station listening in at .net that was in Boston earlier. I don't know if it was with Jim or not. I know sometimes you come in and you have to go away, but we will get everybody checked in when they can be there. And even if they're not, we get them checked in. SWL 98. Hello to Tracy. I think Tracy was in the ditch banks last night. I should get Tracy checked in. Radio Randy, SWL 99, who was on 40 meters later, or earlier, I should say, and said they were going to try and make... There's a time difference. So what is 8 o'clock here is 9 o'clock where he is in Arizona. So, Radio Randy, let me put the X in the square at 99 as you stop by and are watching or maybe listening in. He might be on 75 meters right now checking out some good audio. Jim, I see you in there. If I didn't say so, I put the X in the square for Boston 97. He's shouting out to, Tram Doctor. What's his name? Ron? I don't remember. But a lot of great videos, a wealth of knowledge to the OTR community. And he's one of the first videos, Tram Doctor, one of the first videos that I actually saw and looked at on YouTube channel when I started doing the YouTube. I said, boy, here's a guy that just, no nonsense, let me show you the radio, let me show you what it does, let me tell you what it could do. I won't preach to you, but I'll just show you stuff, and it was cool. And he knows, like you said, he knows a lot of stuff, so I haven't seen some stuff lately. It would be cool. I'd like to have him stop by. It's probably too late for him, but he's a knowledgeable guy. I don't know. Maybe we'll get him on a link up somehow. That would be interesting. There are a lot of interesting people out there to talk with, including present company, of course. Let's go over to. Oh, this should be an Echo link. So hold on a second. Yeah, I want to make sure I've got the Echo link fired up, and we will head over to McClellanville, South Carolina, and see if Tony is listening in. KB6GFD.
Good evening, Dennis. Please check in SWL 100. Sounding good tonight. Back to net control, KD4BAO.
All right, 100 is checked in. Thank you for the radio report. Hopefully we will keep that good sound through the rest of the net, but I will, my good sound will not match the good sound that will be happening when we go to the tubes on the air coming up. Thanks, Tony, KB6GFD. Over to shortwave listener 102, Mr. John. John is, he joins us from out in Arkansas, saying hello to all the old tube radio operators, shortwave listeners, and well, thanks for having me. We're glad you're here. The more the merrier, and I'm not sure if you have something in your area like this to get on the air night. You just might. If not, tell people, doggone it, that's what we should be doing. Let's go to SWL 103. Over to shortwave listener 109.
Good evening, Dennis. Crawdad 109 checking in.
Crawdad 109 checking in. You are sounding good here in the Flatlands tonight. Thanks for joining us on your old tube radio network.
Thank you, Dennis, and you're sounding great up here.
Yeah, sometimes I Sometimes I tie my tie just correct, the jacket is straight, and I can sound good. It doesn't happen great. And one of the SWLs, 109, sounding great. I agree. So you're beaconing through the ether webs, sounding good. All right, let's go over to SWL 110. SWL 111.
Hello, Dennis. Yes, I can hear you live on the air.
Holy cow, you're like S5. You are super loud and sounding super good here into Midtown Fresno over.
I had a real good copy of you up to about SWL 82, and you started getting fuzzy, but you're back in there now. 73s, bud. Thanks for doing it. 111, clear.
All right, sounding good. You're sounding like you do on sideband, big signal. So we have got some ground wave conditions happening with the wet ground and the dry ground, whatever. All right, treat to hear Reedley. Thank you, Robert. SWL 113. Shortwave listener 114.
114, checking in.
Never have trouble hearing that station. Sounding good, Wayne. We've got you checked in.
Thank you for the check-in.
Over to who is up next? All of a sudden I'm hearing some strange noise. I think I'm got my microphone in the wrong spot. SWO 128, Fairfax, Virginia. I think that's where it's supposed to be, regardless of what it says on my list here. 128 is there. John is checking in. He's fortunate this week to make a contact with Tango November 8 Kilowatt, the D-Expedition. Wow, in the Republic of the Congo. I haven't even heard them. I'll have to look, because they'll spot, they'll say they're somewhere on some frequency. I wonder if I could even hear them. So not only hearing them, but he was able to make a contact and get on the log. All right, well, I'll check that out. Check that out on QRZ and see what they're up to. But good DX. And you got it, there's a little bit of finesse to doing that. It isn't just like you put out your call and they come back to you. There's some stuff that some foxiness you have to get into. So thanks, John. Good information there, and I will kind of look to see if I can even hear them on the West Coast with my little setup. Let's go to SWL 131. SWL 133. I'm showing a proxy check-in for Mr. Green Arrow, so if you're listening, Cliff, we've got you checked in over. SWL 137. Got a previous check-in for SWL 145, Tony, who does the Friday morning nets. What do they call it? I guess it's the early risers net up on 2 meters. Always does a good job, and he emails me because he asks some questions, and they're always sort of radio related, and they make you think. So he always lets me know what questions are going on. I was seeing if I could find. Yeah, here's one. Friday's questions and answer. One was the 3500Z tube has been used in many amateur amplifiers over the years. What is the tube's maximum frequency rating? So I'll give you the answers later, but there's one. What is the tube's maximum frequency rating of a 3500Z? And that is, okay, that's about what I would think maybe, but I would have got that question wrong. And what is a Wilkinson divider used for? A Wilkinson divider. I'll give you a hint, it's a 50 ohm, it can work with 50 ohm loads. Wilkinson divider, what is it used to do? It could be, the answer could be in the title right there. All right, let's go to Neil. SWO 147 is checked in not too long ago. Let's see, SWO 38, late check-in. Hi, Sam. I gotcha. I think I put a proxy in there for you, but I will put the official X in the square and up on the box on the screen as well. Thanks for joining us. Just super quiet conditions tonight. Not any DX going on. Yeah, probably the Drake L4B might have a 300Z, but what is the maximum frequency that they're rated for? Let's go to SWL 188.
Good evening time, Dennis. Good evening time to all the SWLs. 188 checking in.
Checking in, sounding good. I can't remember if I heard you last night on the sideband, but you're sounding good tonight on AM.
10-4. Thank you, sir. Good evening time.
All right, very good. And Foxman says, hearing sirens in the background. I even have the noise gate turned on. What I did is I turned my mic gain down just a little bit. But apparently, you know, when you when you live in Fresno, you just might hear those types of things. Hopefully, hearing the sirens is okay. But if you hear the sirens and then you see the flashing red lights behind me, that can mean that, I don't know, they're chasing the limousine. More likely it means that Bozo Control is in trouble yet again. All right, we've got Snow Beast is checked in. Let's go up to Course Gold, SWR 195.
195, checking in, Dennis. It's when the red lights stop here.
This hopefully is not the red light district. I don't know. Jim, you are sounding good, and we got you checked in.
And thank you, sir.
Yeah, it says I need a soundproof room, but like a real studio. I have the window open a little bit just to get some air. It's warm enough that it's nice to have a little air coming through. And I've done it before. I turn off the noise, the downward expander, and you'll hear how noisy this room actually is. But it's not raining. There's nothing to listen to here. Let's go to SWL 226, Mr. Shockwave. Yeah, Foxman 362. SWL 195 is sounding good. He is up in the hills above Fresno here and doing a good job tonight. Everybody's sounding good. Any late check-ins before we move to the tube radios?
49er.
Hey, all right. We got you checked in. Actually, we got you proxy checking because if you were anywhere near the radio, you would be stopping by, and you are, and you have. Over.
All right, well, thank you very much to whoever did that proxy for me. So, we're waving a hand for Sweet Country Mama, who is currently snoozing away, and we're wishing everyone a great evening, and thank you for the check-in, Mr. Dennis.
All right, thanks for stopping by. All right, we're going to take a quick break and gear up for the tube radios. Coming up, I'll be back in a minute or two with the old tube radio network and your old tube radios. And if I didn't say so, you would indeed be listening to the old tube radio network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The old tube radio network.
Yes, they are applauding for those glow-in-the-dark tube radios. It is that time here on the Old Tube Radio Network where we talk about, listen for, and get involved with those glow-in-the-dark radios courtesy of our tube radio operators. So without any further ado, and I'm checking to see, I don't think the Rolodex is working. We're looking here. Checking, yeah, so we might not get to see many of the radios tonight. I will try my best to pull them out of somewhere, but we will be hearing them. So I will stand by, and I'm listening for any and all radio check-ins.
14.
Boy, sounding good. Radio number 1 on my list for January 21st at approximately, I guess, 9:08. Pacific time. Take a transmission. Over.
Thank you, Dennis. I'd like to check in the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III, fresh off of Harvey's bench.
Wow, you would never know that there might be a Band-Aid or two on it as things heal, because it sounds like it is ready to fly.
Yeah, everything's functioning well, and just a few little things that went wrong. The volume control knob wasn't letting the power come on, so back to functional again.
All right, I've got you on the S-meter. Man, my noise level's at 1. You are S5. You are multiple dB above noise here tonight. Audio is just nice and clear, not overdone on the Browning. Just sounds good. No background noise like bouncing off the walls. It is the way the Browning Laboratories envisioned their radio to sound, no doubt.
Yeah, I was listening to the live feed when I checked in. I thought it sounded great tonight. The conditions are excellent, and hopefully when the noise comes in, I may be able to still check in another radio.
All right, we'll have it ready, because we're actually a little ahead of time here, but we'll see what my noise does if it comes in. Take another transmission. I'll do the 0 beat here, see where you're out on frequency. Over.
D104 microphone tonight, and hopefully right on frequency.
All right, pretty close. Going back to the AM 84.9. So yeah, no one's going to notice. No one's going to notice that on the AM side for sure. 90 cycles or so. Sounding good. We've got you on the log. Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. That is the radio from 1972 to 1976. Took the place of the Browning Mark II when they figured out how to cram all those various extra sideband pieces and adapters into the transmitter. You could available to get it as an AM only transmitter, and I think there was probably about $200 less, but doggone it, it sure looks good sitting next to that big transmitter. Looks good sitting next to the receiver.
Yeah, it does, and this is the sideband as well.
On the sideband. So have you, let's see, does it go up to, oh, that's right, it's a 40 channel receive, but the transmitter's only 23 without modifications on a VFO or something, so you would have to do a little trickery perhaps to get it up on the ditch banks net.
Yeah, unfortunately it has an on-off switch drilled on the receiver right in the middle of it. I wish it was an extra channel. Maybe I could go on the ditch bank sideband.
Yeah, you know, there's probably some trickery, but sometimes it's like, I don't know if I want to modify things. There is still, in theory, there should be some sideband going on, and it was 16. There was a group trying to get the channel 16 lower and upper going. I don't know how well they're doing with that, because there's been just, you know, over the decades here, there's been a lot of stations going back to AM on 16, but I don't know. Sounds good. You know, they're a little more difficult to drive on sideband, but they do work and they do sound good. Radio number 1, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III, all the way from Sangertown, doing a good job. Whenever I have my receiver in a good spot, it does a good job. That meaning it does a good job all the time. I just have to be able to hear it. Over.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. Appreciate the time tonight, and I'll be warming another one up.
All right, the Old Tuber Radio Network. Let me see. The Jingle Singers are just, it must be those hamburgers tonight. They're saying they want to get started, and they're jumping up and down over there. All right, here we go. OTR.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR. Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
The station for you is OTR, and we are standing by listening for radio number 2.
Number 7.
All right, number 7 on my list of number 2. Let me bring the picture back to this and take a transmission, sir. Over.
Well, we'll just go ahead and continue with the Browning type things, and another Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB with the banana type microphone.
All right, the Eagle Mark III SSB, the designated, lets you know that you've got the larger transmitter that has the sideband built in. We were discussing a little bit on sideband. I'm not sure if you've done much on that, or do you know, can you get above channel 23 sideband with that? I know sometimes you need an external device, and sometimes you can do it internally, or is it just the regular 23?
Yeah, just the regular 23. No, I don't have any external VFO or anything on it.
All right, we'll have to, I don't know, maybe we'll work on that, get a little quickie sideband thing, because I've got the Regency Imperial, which does double sideband. There may be some other tube 23 channel sidebands. I know General Radio Telephone had a couple, and some of the Browning guys get up on 16 or something. Once a month? Who knows? I don't know. Sounds good. Ed, also on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. I don't have any production numbers on that. I just would be curious, in the 5 years that they produced those, how many they sold. There just is so many around. I think what happens is almost everyone that was ever made somehow made it back to either being a parts radio that gets somebody else on the air, or they were just too good to throw in the trash. So I'm getting rid of this thing. So there's just a lot of them around. So it was good radio, built like a tank, but built like a tank, drives like a Buick. I don't know. Back to you. Or a Chevy. No, I'm sorry, a Chevy, right?
Oh, there you go. Always was more of a Chevy guy, so yeah, I definitely have to go for the Chevy. But yeah, the big radio takes up almost 3 feet of space, and it keeps on going. Of course, with the help of Harvey out there, who helped keep a lot of these radios on the air.
Sounds like a half track. Keeps on going. Takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
Yeah, well, it takes not a golden screwdriver, but a screwdriver from someone who knows how to do it, and Harvey helps us out. All right, sounds like my noise is up and running, so we'll see where the S meter is at. But you are sounding good on the Browning Eagle Mark III SSB. Oh, come on back. I was going to do a frequency check here.
Well, it should be pretty well darn on. Of course, you can move it around, but it should be pretty close.
Yeah, you know that... Oops. Let me get in the right mode here. That is correct. I think on a lot of them, the control will move your AM, so you can actually zero. But you're right on. You are right on. I go to sideband, and if I go left or north or south, I get the 0 beat. So looking good. Radio number 2, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Ed is at the microphonium, and it is sounding good.
And thank you. With that, we'll have another one shortly.
And look at that. I went to an S6 noise level. What is that? What is that? I would like to know.
Broadband. Spread across the wire. That's what that is. Ground noise.
be here. It never used to be here, Dennis, until broadband.
Yeah, but it's on a timer. It's on a timer, so it comes and it goes. So somebody's got something that turns on and turns off. If I could convince them to turn it on an hour later, were I to know what it was, life would be easy. We're looking for radio number 3. All right, 14, I hear you. Cornbread saying everything that ain't nailed down, Dapper Dan has claimed. And now, Dapper Dan is claiming the nails and the hammer, so you are in bad shape. All right, Sean, give it a shot here. I hear the Eagle. I hear the bird number 2 firing up. Go ahead. All right, progressing in chronological order from the Browning Eagle Mark III of moments ago to the Mark IV. Let me make sure I put the proper Roman numeral, and there you go. So I'm not sure if it makes me sound any different, but it's close to the other one. I don't know. I somehow think I might prefer the sound of the 3, but like I said, I've got the noise in there now, so it's hard for me to do a good comparison. And so is that the same, well, first I guess I'll ask, is it the same microphone as the other radio? And if not, because that could make some differences as well, over. Okay, now here's a question, because I don't know. Obviously on all the Brownings up to the Mark III, I think they were all similar mic plugs with that it was a 2-pin and the shield. Did they change the mic connection on the Mark IV, or did they add more pins to it? Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, you can't do a swap, a quick swap around on the microphones, because that would be interesting to see if there's a tone quality per the microphoniums. But it's definitely got the Eagle ping, and it's definitely doing the Eagle thing here on the Old Tube Radio Network, from a Browning Mark III to the Mark IV, which was, if there was a 40-channel transmitter, you'd have it right there. So that one should play on the ditch banks, right? Yeah, it is a bit tricky, and they change, I think, a few things on the way the clarifier works from the Mark III, but they are looking good. The pair of birds for the Old Tube Radio Network, and it is the Eagles have landed here on OTR tonight. I may have to see if we've got an Espresso Trucking Company a song for this. We'll see what happens. Radio number 3, Browning Golden Eagle Mark III. You are sounding good. As you know, the noise came up, so when you hear the replay, if you hear the replay, keep that in mind, and the fact that you're getting through it is a pretty decent thing. Back to you, and thanks for bringing the radio by here on the Old Tube Radio Network. That's why we are here. Yeah, well, hopefully I'll figure this noise out, or I guess we know if it continues when we get to April, whenever the time shifts again. If it shifts again, then we'll be in the clear through 10 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. And if and when I change my antenna, that could be something too. Maybe it's close by, or if I get a focusing elemental device, or a horizontal slant to it, you just never know. The Old Tube Radio Network, real radio's glowing in the dark. Thanks to those who are joining us here on Channel 11 in the Central Valley, or at oldtuberadio.net on the audio side, or maybe over on the video side. Who is that? Lawrence. Joining us on the video side tonight. Also, No Quarters, UDX 351, saying hello, radio. In Germantown, Wisconsin, joining us at the .net site. The Jingle Singers will do what the Jingle Singers do, and then we'll be listening for more radios here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest nation for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
Listening for radio number 4. And I think we've got it. It's warming up even as you speak there, Joe. Take a transmission.
Thank you much, Dennis. Yes, indeed, she's warm. In fact, both pieces are, but it's really one piece. The other one is probably you could call it a little helper. Dennis, I'd like to check in my Johnson Messenger, blackface, number 2.
All right, we'll get you checked in, and Charlie's saying I forgot my post-it. I've got a post-it here. It says, make sure you do the pocket protector thing, which I will do. I'll do it after your check-in, Joe. But more appropriately, it says, don't forget to fire up the radio in the back, which is my Edgar F. Johnson. So away we go. Let me find the switch. It still lights up. It's a little off. It's off screen. Did somebody run into the camera? Can we move the camera? Hold on a second. I'm going to try something here. Can we move the camera over? I know it's a bad idea. They're holding up the bad idea sign. Okay, I think we did it. Nothing broke. We got a little more of the radio, maybe a little less of me. All right, sorry, Joe. Take a transmission over.
No problem, Dennis. Doggone it. Yeah, we were kind of messing with this one just a little bit too. I hope you're able to hear me okay with your noise level. Dennis, we have 10 tubes, 10 channels, from A to J. 10 channels, being channel 11 on the letter C.
All right, channel 11 is letter C. I will make a note of that. And sometimes they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4 or alphabetically, but it's good to be A, B, C, D. It's good to be on the list. And someone had asked earlier about why channel 11, especially because it's really noisy when we have skip. But I bet when that radio was brand new, if it had only one channel transmit crystal, that channel 11 was one of them, or was the item, and then you add your favorite channels. 11 and 9. 9's another popular channel. 19. 14 was, talking to the walkie-talkies, channel 7, something like that. So the 10 tubes sounding good. It always does that thing. When it's sort of like me getting out of a chair. It first gets up, it's kind of has to stretch. Has to stretch a little bit, and then it's good to go.
Yeah, you're right about that. And, there are a few channels on this one. Channel 2, 13. Of course, 11, 14, 19, 20, 21, 22, 28, and J being 30.
Oh, all right. Well, that's true. I mean, back when the radio was original, there wasn't a channel 30 crystal per se because the channels went up to 23. But you can get a crystal cut. You can even put those on 10 meters. They had a 10-meter version. I think if you were to take that one and go to 10 meters, you'd get your crystal, 29, let's say 29020.00, but you'd have to go in and tweak the radio a little bit up because to get the 2 megahertz bump. Sounds good. I haven't yet talked to somebody running 10 AM on a Johnson Messenger. If they do, I'll try to record it because they do. Or there are some 10-meter conversions that way. You are radio number 4. You've broken the string of Brownings, so the Browning fans are are okay because we got 3. But the E.F. Johnson fans are good because 1, I remember to turn mine on, and 2, yours is sounding good as usual. Over.
Well, thanks a lot there, Dennis. Doggone it, I appreciate you letting me check this one in. We'll get another one warmed up here. This one is definitely cooking. I think she's reached her temperature, and she's ready to roll. Okay, Dennis, thanks a whole lot, and we'll get on another one.
All right, we'll be here to monitor that. Who was it asked? Where do you get parts for older tube radios like caps? Well, I guess the caps would be the easy thing because typically, the caps are nice and large. They're not like these little microscopic things in the newer radios. So you have a nice large capacitor and you can read the voltage and the capacitance and maybe go, what is it? And Harvey will tell us, I don't know, DX or Mouser, or there's some places that deal in the caps. You can buy 1. You can buy, if you know you're going to be needing a lot or whatever, you can buy 10 of them. They come in. They're not too expensive. This is one of the triple can caps, and sometimes you have to create those yourself. So those are easy to get. A lot of you hear the word parts radios. So, and I mentioned that earlier, sort of jokingly with the Brownings. But a lot of times, if you have, your base radio is the 223 or the Regency Imperial, then you might acquire a couple of those radios and say, I don't think it works as a parts radio, because even though it doesn't work because of tubes or whatever. It's going to have some knobs and meters and capacitors in the same spot that if they're not too old or they work, at least you'll have some radios to swap around, just like I guess you would do with a car, but it's a lot easier to store and a lot cheaper. The Old Tube Radio Network. My name is Dennis, Net Controller for the evening. We are here in the Central Valley of California, where we are listening for and talking with the classic tube radios that came out on the Class D 11-meter citizen band radio service from 1958 to about 1978. Our tube radio operators are at the ready. We're listening for radio number 5.
Dennis?
This is the basic Dennis, over.
I'm feeding back. Oh, darn. What was that question about the tube?
Well, it was just a generic question about if you are looking to fix up your radio, where is it that you get these parts, these capacitors and resistors and perhaps tubes. So as you heard, I mentioned a lot of times it's part radios, but the capacitors and resistors, the components, are fairly easy to get from, from not Radio Shack, of course, but what is it? DX, I keep saying DX Engineering, but Mouser, or places where you can order those parts online.
Hey, Roger. Mouser's one. There are a couple others. Now, I'm going to be feeding back here. Let me... which radio is feeding back? Oh, this one. There we go. Yeah, you can even get them on Amazon. Not the greatest quality, but it depends on what application, what part of the radio you're putting it in. But you had a question about, a 3500Z tube or something?
Oh, that was from Tony's questions on Friday. Let me see if that's filled in. You have a lot. You have a lot of audio. You have audio to go around. You have audio to share. So you might be able to get a smaller plate for your audio and leave some for leftovers. But you do sound good. I'll give you that. The 3500Z tube has been used in many amateur applications over the years. What is the tube's maximum rated frequency? So we all know that it'll work, here on the HF bands. That takes us to 2930 megahertz. But this question poses the question, what is the maximum frequency rating that tube will properly work over?
That was an old trivia type 11-meter type funny answer to it. I think it's
110 megahertz, I think, being that there's a 1-1 in there.
Well, I mean, we can know that a lot of people will modify the SB220s, or is it the 200, the 220 that has the 3500Z tubes to go to 6 meters, and no problem, and that's up at 50 megahertz. And so your answer of 110 megahertz is exactly correct. That is the answer. So there's something to remember, because it's got the 11 in as for 11 meters. Is that what you're saying? Over?
Yeah, I remember that from talking to a couple of people, that it was funny that it was, 110, and people used it on 11 meters, and the 2 1s and all that. But I've never used a tube or even had one in my hand, I think. But I kind of remember that. And I think that other question had to do about signal phasing or something.
Oh, yeah, let's address that too. The other one, and like I said, 110 megahertz is the correct answer, so very good. What is a Wilkinson divider used for? The Wilkinson divider, as I don't think it has anything to do with shaving.
I don't know. No, I think it has to do with signal combining and dividing. But that's all I can remember about it. I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to do it. But I remember something about signal and phasing and coupling and stuff like that.
All right, and Harvey, right now it sounds like you are sitting in the middle of Freeway 41 during rush hour, and trying not to get hit by a truck. What is the Wilkinson divider used for? The answer is the Wilkinson divider is used to divide power equally between two 50-ohm loads while maintaining a 50-ohm input balance. So maybe you could use it to divide your signal. I know one station that I talked to long ago on amateur radio used to have, he just used a T connector. Now that's not a Wilkinson divider, and he had a 50-ohm dummy load on one side, and his antenna that in theory would have been a 50-ohm load had it been correctly resonated, but he said that helped to fool the radio, right? The radio needs to see a 50-ohm load. So he said it helped fool the radio so that he could use the antenna and dial it around the bands, and not worry about the match changing. But I believe the Wilkinson divider does that properly, giving you 50 ohms between the two loads while maintaining the 50 ohms. So why you would use it or why you might need one, I'm not sure. But that's the Wilkinson divider. Over.
Okay. I lowered the gain on the mic. Is that any better?
There is some noise being generated. I mean, it just sounds like you're got a fan, a vacuum cleaner going in the background. So check your microphonium again. Hopefully there's not, the crackle, the bad pot position where it's going to crackle. And take another transmission, look at any wiggle meters. And when you first key down, just don't say anything. I want to see where the audio is.
I think I'm feeding back into another radio. Plus I had the heater on. Yeah, right. With tube radios, I need a heater. The meter seems to be steady when I'm not talking. And I'm on my R27 S23 with my brown little eagle head on the transmitter there.
Wow, that whatever you did fixed all the issues. No background noise, no crackling noise, no Harvey is like overly large in the audio. It's actually very pleasant. Edgar F would be pleased. Take another transmission.
Huh. Harvey being pleasant. Now that's an oxymoron. Anyway, yeah, this is the R27S23. I've been on it the whole time. I haven't switched transmitters, radios. And I think I'm fairly close down frequency. It might be a little low. Anyway, I had a heater on, and then I've got a couple other radios on, and I have to keep this microphone kind of away from them, even though the volume is down on them, so that I don't feed back into them. Okay. Anyway, I'll turn it back to you, and then I think I'll do a radio for Levon back in New York.
Okay, he was out listening, or he was out listening. He may still be on the video, on the video side. And yeah, I don't hear the radios feeding back when you fixed the one feedback issue. That sounds really good. I just went to the S meter, and when you're not talking, it goes down. The Orban modulation, I mean, it's perfect. Whatever you got now is doing the Browning Eagle R27 S23 justice, and you're also garnering some A-OK thumbs up from the audio. And Levon just sauntered up to his radio table and says, "I'm listening."
All righty. I'll put this one aside, and then at the appropriate time, key up the radio for Levon. Yeah, this, I'm the third owner of this one. The original owner traded this one for a General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, and I got this from the second owner. Unfortunately, when he passed away, it was willed to me, and then that's how I got it. But anyway, it's got a +2, powder blue +2 desk mic, and that's the only mic I'll run on this radio, because that's the way he ran it, so that's the way I'm going to run it there. Anyway, I'll turn it back to you, and then there are obviously other people out there, and then I'll key up the radio for Levon.
Okay, so ready. You will appreciate that. And I remember back a long time ago, we said, no, you don't run a +2 on the Browning. You just don't do that. But that sounds really good. That is definitely the microphone that should be on that radio. I bet you put on a D104, it might be a little more punchy, but it doesn't need to be. It's a Browning. You are radio number 5, the R27 S23, the first of the Brownings to carry the Eagle moniker on the name and the Eagle logo, not the flying Eagle that came on later with the Mark II and the Mark III. And I don't know if you have an Eagle, a spread Eagle applique on the R68, T68 as well. But anyway, this is the first one to be called the Eagle with the R27 receive unit, the S23 sender unit, and doing a good job. Thanks for stopping by.
Where are you at, Joe? Thought Joe was going to do another one.
Okay, well, you know what? We can go to we'll go to the Jingle Singers. They are in good shape tonight. It's from all that fun and frolic that they had this week. Go back in a 20 seconds here.
You're listening in the latest style at
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
Yeah, the Jingle Singers went to that estate sale, got the Tram Diamond D201. So they're feeling pretty confident here on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. And John, thanks. He said we're talking about the TN8X, the expedition station in Republic of Congo, but he thought maybe that the 20th, the last day of operation, was was on Friday, and most was FT8. Nice low signal on FT8. I haven't done it yet, but I have friends that do it, and they really like the operation and how it, it's easier to log some contacts, especially if you're looking for some DX award. But good for John. On 12 meters, I've been listening on 12 meters, and I hear the FT8 signals. That's how I know the band is open. I'll go to the FT8 portion, which is what, 24,915 or somewhere around there. And then I'll tune up. Somebody said they're even trying AM on the other side of it, like at 975 or whatever. And then occasionally I'll hear some sideband. I'm kind of chomping at the bit to do some SSB 12-meter contacts. Is it like 11? Is this 20 over? Where are the stations on 12, which is just down the road a piece? So we'll work on making 12 meters, some 12-meter contacts. All right, the Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio is glowing in the dark. I'm listening.
Well, no Joe, so I'll do this one.
You can do that one. Take a transmission and let's talk.
Okay. This is my E.F. Johnson, a Viking Messenger, 5-channel radio, soon to not be mine.
All right, E.F. Johnson, Viking Messenger, which I think in the 11-meter world would be known as the white face, since it's the 5-channel version. Now, Johnson made a Viking and a Valiant for amateur radio a little before or during the same time that one came out, but they were 85 pounds. They ran 6146 tubes, plate modulated, although I'm not sure is the Messenger plate modulated. Take a transmission, because I'm noticing a down in the low noise hum, which may be a microphonium thing. It doesn't, not in your audio, anything like that, but it is definitely there.
Okay, now tell me if it's really there now. Okay, is it really there now?
It was there. It changed pitch. Was it frequency? I don't have a scope in front of me, but you did. It went, and then it was still there. So it is still there.
Okay. Let's see if I can get it to move around. Did it move around?
Yeah, it didn't change the frequency, but it crackled a bit, and it moved. It did change. It never went away, but it crackled a bit.
Okay. Is it there now?
It is there now, over. And again, remember, it is down. It is down, but it is noticeable.
Okay. What about there?
Interesting. Their audio decreased by about 40%, but I don't know if the hum decreased by 40%, but if it's there, I'm not hearing it.
Okay, I have the modulator on. This doesn't need the modulator, I don't think. Is it acceptable?
Yeah, I've got the S meter up now. Take a transmission if you want to do an AB. It looks like your S9. Modulating up a couple of dB regularly, so take a transmission.
Okay. This is the Johnson Viking 5-channel radio, and got the ice cream cone mic, original mic, and with the stock cartridge in there, or element. And this is what it sounds like without the modulator on.
Yeah, sounds good. A couple of people saying that sounds fine to them listening in through my receiver. You're at S9. The hum is definitely gone. It isn't to the perceivable, to the ear, it isn't as loud, but it's loud enough. It looks like it's modulating correctly as it's going forward, and I would say you have a good percentage of modulation. So that was it. We haven't had that issue lately, but I know there's some of your radios that don't want to play with that thing.
Yeah, Roger. And frequency, I should be close. But watch this. Do we have my hum back?
I heard a crackle, and it came down, or came in, but very, very low. If it's back, it's way, way down.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to move my hum around. Did it vary at all?
All right, what's on sideband playing around, trying to zero, but yeah, you're pretty close to right on frequency. It didn't, if it came in, it was very low. I didn't hear it on sideband. I would say there's no hum.
Okay. There should be maybe a slight bit of hum right there. Let me know now.
Yeah, I've got, you're at S9, my noise level's now at S6 or S7, so if it's there, it's you know, being blended into the noise. So you're well over the noise. It's not like when you first came on, there was definitely a hum. Over.
Well, I have this overhead light clamped to a shelf on the bench. I use it for seeing. Anyway, it's got an LED bulb in it. Not a fluorescent, but an LED. And I could not get the hum out of this thing yesterday. It had this hum when the volume was down all the way. I had a hum, and I couldn't figure it out until I moved the light, and the hum went away. And then I moved the light closer, and the hum came back. And I moved the light, circling it around the radio, and the hum varies with me moving it. So it's a bad LED bulb, but it's close to the radio. And then when I turn the modulator on, oh, you get a little bit of the modulator hum. And then when I move the light closer, it also picks that up. So it's not the radio, it's the light and the modulator.
Very interesting, because typically, from what I've known, the LED lights will transmit, give you a hum or buzz that way, but the classic is the desk lamp, the fluorescent light desk lamp with the base, with the transformer, or whatever's in the base of that, and you touch the lamp, touch the metal lamp, and then get near your radio, and you kind of act like an antenna for that. So, all right, well, you've got it. When you turned off the modulator, I think that was the main item. So if there was a little bit in there, it was totally being re-amplified with the modulator. So if anything in there now is way, way, way down. So if you ever had a scope, you might see a bit of a ripple, but not a bad thing. So I think you're good. I've logged in the E.F. Johnson Viking Messenger white face right on frequency radio. Over.
Roger. I turned the modulator back on. Just so you can see the difference, and Yvonne can hear it. No ripple, MD2020 or Thunderbird, but no ripple.
Yeah, you don't want too much ripple, or it will make you sick. No, it sounds, when it's in its a naked radio mode, as it were, it sounds just fine right on frequency, and doing one of the Johnson. And remember, that's with the standard ice cream cone microphonium, so you could put a Demco modulator in line, and you could put an amplified microphone if you want, or not, because it's got plenty of audio. And the hum is back because he has an external device connected that is not part of the radio, just because he can, even though he, as we saw in the S-meter, he doesn't really need it.
Roger. Oh yeah. This mic is wired straight into the radio as it came from the factory. It does have the hole on the left side where a mic plug could be put. The cabinet does not have the hole. That would have to be put on. But I think he wanted it just this way, and it's got the channels that he wants in there. Everything is tuned to those channels, well, basically. So to the mid-range frequency from in between the low channel and the high channel. So this thing will be shipped out beginning of next week, and it'll be back east shortly. Anyway, another one where I can walk a little easier in the radio room now.
All right, there you go. All right, well, that's good. We ever get to some conditions, number 5 is going to have to get out there and check in a few radios. He's setting up a pretty nice arsenal. I want to say hello to Albert Yaking and the boys up joining us tonight in the Old Tube Radio Network, as always, creating mayhem and mischief up in the mezzanine, which is okay. That's what we like. All right, Harvey, thanks so much. And the E of Jonathan has proven itself once again.
Roger, thank you.
The Old Tube Radio Network, jingle singers are ready to go, and I wanted to make a comment. Let's do the jingle singers first, and then I will make my comment here.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
Yeah, right here in Fresno, California. Somebody did say Fresno, and John mentioned 10 meter AM is active. Also, yes, indeed. He says he made 4 contacts into Europe on 10 meter AM. See, that's the thing. I don't hear Europe. I made a couple this week, and there's a guy up in Fargo, North Dakota. That's just like a beacon here in the Central Valley. And I've talked to this guy for years. I look back at my log from the late 1980s, and he's still there up in Fargo, North Dakota. So we had a couple of 10 meter AM contacts, and that was, gosh, he was 10 over. But he's running some very classic Collins gear and some homebrew stuff, and multi-Almacs and Globes, Kings. I don't know. Anyway, he's got the real stuff and a good antenna. So talked to him. Talked to I think it was a couple weeks ago. Talked to Tim HLR up in Maine, up in Skowhegan on 15 meters, and again on 10 meters. I just can't make it across the Atlantic Ocean. I don't have a station probably like John does. But anyway, John, thanks for that. It's been fun listening up on 10 and 15 meter AM radio. The Old Tube Radio Network, speaking of AM, speaking of YAM radio, we are listening for your Old Tube Radio AM radios. Listening.
Number 7.
And Radio 7 is going to be from SWL7 at 9:55, beaconing here on AM, but on the 11 meter style. Go ahead.
Well, kind of an old classic. The Tram TR27 Echo, 23 channel transmit and receive. It's big, it's green, and it also has an Electro Voice 638 microphone attached.
The microphone of tube radio operators everywhere, whether they're on a tram or the high-dollar Collins or something like it. And I apologize for the viewers this week. We are still having some issues with our picture database. I'm hoping that we can get it fixed. I'm beginning to think it's some type of strange, you can't get there from here thing, but we will see. But in the meantime, as always, just the voice and the radios coming by is a good thing, and that's why we're here in the Old Tube Radio Network, so that people can hear the sound of, and the radio operators can key down on their Tram TR27E, the finals of the Tram TR27 series radios back in 1963, and it sounds as good as the day it came out of the box. Over.
Well, thank you much. Just recently had to do a little retubing. That worked out really well. So that's the only thing we've had to do with it, except for, of course, find a microphone that would work, because went through quite a few right here on OTR until we found the one that sounded the best, and I left it there.
The way to do it, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and if it is, just stop when you do. Sounds good. All the tubes, so those should last you for a while. The tubes like the heat. They like it to be hot and run forever. I don't know. There was the controversy of are the tubes more happy? It's like a light bulb. Are the tubes happier when you just leave them on forever, and you're not heating and unheating and expanding and contracting those filaments? Or is it just an all-around bad thing just because of the excessive accumulation of heat? I don't know. There's two schools of thought on that. And the other school of thought is if you're paying for the electric bill, maybe, yeah, you want to turn it off. Over.
Yes. Well, you know, I've heard from a couple of old tube guys that the best way is to turn it on and just leave the darn thing running. Turning them on and off actually does more damage to the tube than just leaving it on. But I don't know.
Yeah, I know some of the old TV way back engineers said that's sort of the way some of the broadcast stations ran. They just leave it up. Not turn, I'm talking about equipment like studio equipment. Now, on a transmitter, you may have to turn the thing off because of regulations and you sign off at night. And we had the tube transmitters over at Channel 30. The old RCA, that thing took a couple of minutes. You had to fire things up and wait and let it come up and make sure it was happy as it groaned its way along, making audio and video for pictures. The solid state, not so much, but here in the shack, I guess if you have a lot of radios, you might not want to leave them all on. But if you got one choice radio, maybe it's good to leave it on and make sure. That's the other thing. Make sure that the microphonium can't get keyed. That would be bad.
Yeah, that would not be good. Or having keying up with multiple radios on and having them all squeal at you.
Right. Okay. And what did Levon say? That I stole a comment. Okay. Well, whatever it was, I hope it was a good comment. Alpha Kilo 295 GE from 22. Sorry, it's not on Echolink tonight. No problem. Listening into some good audio here from the Old Tube Radio Network, talking with Ed on his Tram TR27E. The big Tram, they made a smaller, I guess that's relative, a smaller version that went mobile. But the biggest meter this side of Las Vegas, I don't know. Anyway, I hope I'm somewhere at 20 over if it's working.
Oh yes, you're definitely way over in the green. So yeah, doing good with the old, and of course the 5x7 speaker makes everybody sound pretty darn good.
All right, you're up on the meter 25 over with some good forward modulation. Radio 7, our first Tram of the evening. One of the good ones. I mean, there's the D201s that we've got over in the green room. There's the Tram Titan that came after that radio, the Titan 2. One of those has the double. We're talking about sideband. Anybody got a Tram Titan? Is it the 2 or the Tram Titan that's got the double sideband? That would work perfectly. And the Boston 97 calls it the Green Monster, and indeed it must be. The Echo says it sounds good.
Thank you. Well, with that, we'll let you get to any more if there's any more out there.
All right, and there just might be at 10 o'clock before we go. The Jingle Singers have at least one more.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
The Old Tube Radio Network and Jim. Yeah, Timtron. I heard him calling, and I think there's no way he's going to hear me. And you know he goes on and on. WA1HLR, Henry, he goes on and on. And so I gave him a call. There's nobody else, and he heard me. And then he turned he changed antennas. I don't know what kind of antennas he's got. I don't think he's at the radio station. You know, he's got the curtain raised. So he did something with the antennas, and he came way up, and he was hearing me. And a lot of times I was having trouble hearing him, and he was hearing me. He was hearing me okay. And that was on 15 meters. And then I caught him again on 10. The conditions weren't as good. But he was the one that's saying he's been calling on 12 meters, trying to get some AM going on that, right at the edge of the band. So it's probably like 24,980. Because you got to give it a little slop room for your double sideband there. So I don't know. I might try it on 12 meters. But yeah, the infamous HLR Timtron is out there doing some 10 a.m., as hopefully we might be. And we're doing it right now. The Old Tube Radio Network, we are counting and amounting, and we're looking for Radio 8 if you got it.
Dennis, we might have it. We might have Radio 8. And doggone it, you're sounding good this evening, and you're pegging me out on this end. Dennis, I'd like to check in my blue radio from World Radio Labs, the Hustler.
Yeah, all right, let's do that. And speaking of AM, one of the guys, boy, I don't know if I have the picture, but we were talking about old radios, and I always like to mention that, you know, we do the old tube radio network here, because the old tube guys, they you know, they're cool about that. They all started with tube radios, and we're talking about World Radio Labs, the maker, Mr. Leo Meyerson, of your radio there from Council Bluffs, Iowa, I believe. And I do know, here's the one radio that I can get a picture of, because it's on a whole totally different radio database. So let me put it up here while I talk. There it is, the good old Hustler. Where it is, Blue Radio. And he said, this gentleman said that one of his first novice radios was a Globe, and doggone it, I can't remember the name of the radio, but it was a WRL radio. I'm seeing, thought I kept the picture of it up so that I could find it. And when I saw the thing, I said, that is a big version of your Hustler. It had the same S meter. It was in different configuration. It had 4 knobs on it. Of course, it was for, I think it was for 80 meters, anyways, for the ham bands. And it had the WRL logo on it. But anyway, you've got a classic radio there, is what I'm trying to say, over.
Well, I hope so, doggone it. For some reason or another, it looks like it got smaller while you were, I don't know if you were downing it or making it a bigger radio than what it is. But anyway, Dennis, 8 tubes, 7 tubes, 8 channels, looking back at you on this one.
All right, and I found it. It's called the Meteor from World Radio Labs, and guess what? It was built in 1962, and I bet that is very close to when your radio came out. The Meteor SB175 double sideband transmitter. July 62, CQ price $99.95, wired for 175 watts CW, 100 watts AM, 140 watts double sideband, 80 through 10 meters, 6 CL6 oscillator multiplier, 507063 buffer multiplier, pair of 6 DQ6B final amplifiers. I wonder what tube you've got in your final amplifier there, and it goes on with the 6AQ5 modulator. That thing's a beast. It weighs 15 pounds, and was reviewed in December 1962 QST, but it's called the Meteor. But it's the same kind of compact size. Like I said, 25 pounds as yours. So there it is. That's World Radio Labs, a very interesting manufacturer, and we're glad that they decided to make some 11-meter radios take a transmission.
Yeah, doggone it, that did sound interesting, that one. We'll take a peek at that one. Yeah, it sounded like one heck of a radio there. Yeah, okay, Dennis. Well, doggone it, we won't tie up the net there. It's been a long day, and I know it's been a long evening for you. Doggone it, I wanted to say hello to Ed there this evening. I'm hoping he's still listening. Doggone it, yeah, that tram, I always like the way it looks. I see it there on the phone, and that's a good-looking radio. Okay, Dennis, thanks a whole bunch.
All right, likewise, thanks for giving us a radio that I can actually put a picture on. World Radio Labs, you are, just for people to know, you are running, before you go, you're running a different, even though you have, I think you have the stock microphone that goes with that. You had a microphone plug or jack receptacle, we'll call it that, installed, and you are running a different, not the stock microphone with that, right?
Yeah, the Pretty Blue hand mic we have there put away in the drawer. We are running a Turner Plus 3, and yes, Harvey installed a jack in the front of the radio because this cord came out from underneath the radio, or towards the back of the radio, I guess. But he installed it in the front here, right where it says Labs. That's for the jack dips to the Turner Plus 3.
All right. Well, it's in the right spot because it's making audio. Thanks for bringing it by. Over.
Oh, thank you, Dennis.
One more.
If I can find my key button here. This is the one more frequency. Go ahead.
Alrighty. This is the not-so-sweet sounding pingable Browning R68T68 from Browning Lavatories. The Golden Beagle.
The Golden Beagle. We won't rag on the Golden Beagle. It's sounding pretty good, actually. Over.
Well, if I put the mic in the right place, don't move it around, it doesn't sound trashy. Anyway, this is the floppy-eared Golden Beagle.
And you know, it'll go right back in its basket and want a little milk bone and be ready for next week.
Yeah, but I might not be here. It'll work next week. Don't know if I'll make it back in time, so I might need a proxy. Okay, I'll do one more just because I warmed it up and it's going to be jealous if I don't do it.
All right, wow, your audio got nice and loud there at the end. You must have walked toward the microphone. All right, do that. I'll save a spot. We got some counting and mounting to do. The jingle singers have some more things. I found a photo, and it will only be on the video. A photo of the Meteor sideband 175 transmitter. There it is. Kind of compact. It's not blue. It's the monochrome picture. But it's got that S meter. I think that's the same S meter that Joe has in his rig. And a tune and load. A couple of band switches. Notice it doesn't have 11 meters on it because by that time 11 meters was Class D and you had to be crystal controlled. It has a crystal plug-in on the front. It does AM sideband, but it does double sideband. So basically it probably takes the AM carrier out. And it does CW. And it has a microphone. I don't see a mic. I don't see where the microphone goes. It's certainly not in the front of the radio, and there's no speaker there either. So it might be in the top, or there might be an extra speaker and a switch for the item. I bet it would fire up on 11 meters in the 10 meter position, but no one's ever chanced to get the Meteor sideband 175 double sideband transmitter on. But when I was talking to John on AM the other day, and he mentioned that was his first radio, and I looked at it, and it was from World Radio Labs. I said, we have a guy. I told him, I said, we have a guy that checks in on a World Radio Lab 11 meter version of that. The Old Tube Radio Network, we are looking for radio number 10, and counting and amounting here.
Well, we won't make radio 11, but we got double digits. The Bagel, same radio, a little different.
Yeah, you remind me. I think I have some cinnamon raisin bagels that I'm going to have after the program here.
Yeah, this is a sweet one.
All right, so we got the Golden Eagle from Browning, and it's the R68T68 post Golden Eagle, but pre-Mark II, and we refer to it as the Bagel, not to be confused with the Beagle. If the Beagle would eat the bagel, probably would.
Oh, the radio didn't like that. Okay, we'll cut it short. It's getting late. Possibly catch you next week. Thanks to all the people out there that said nice things, and we'll be hopefully back next week.
All right, well, we'll be up and running. I think I'll have the crossband up to hear you there, and as always, we will be beaconing at oldtuberadio.net, so you can join us on the sly and listening to your favorite radios, which come by. Let's see. Hello to joining us here at the end of the program, the Old Tube Radio Network, San Jose. Hello to you, Washington, Auburn. Washington. There's an Auburn. There's probably an Auburn in every state. We have one here in California. Oakland, California. Hello to you and a host of others here on the Old Tube Radio Network as we count an amount. Oh, and if I didn't mention your Radio 10, the Golden Bagel.
No locks.
For some reason, our accounting department is going a little bit slow tonight.
Well, that's what I do for a living, but I'm off, so don't ask me.
Yeah, it'd be too much like work. What I should do is come over and get a tip. Or maybe there's some tool, or there's something that I need to do it better.
I can't teach you how to do it better. You're going to have to learn that on your own.
Well, I remember when I worked at a department store and they would have that time of the year and these people would come through with their, I'll call them calculators. This is almost 50 years ago. They would come through with their little devices strapped to them and away they would go and they would do their thing and, tally up or whatever it was they did and then they would be gone.
Yeah, it's a glorified calculator. Most companies like to refer to them as data entry terminals. Like, really.
And since this was in the early 1970s, I don't even know. I'm assuming that they've improved things since then.
The first one I had was a Monroe desk calculator, no memories. You just enter stuff, and it had a fluorescent green display, and it sat on top of a battery pack that was maybe 12 C-cells that you had to recharge, rechargeable batteries, and you better do your job fast, otherwise you'd run out of power.
Yeah, probably to make that display work. I've got an old calculator I had from, is it high school? It's a Texas, or that was college, I guess, Texas, and it's a Sharp. Do I have it here on the desk? I don't. I was going to show it, but it's a little more of it, and it lasts a long time on its double A batteries. It was, old enough or new enough to not need C cells or D cells to make enough current. The Jingle Singers are ready to do what they do as we're ready to count them out, so we'll be back in a minute here on OTR.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
Be modern if you can. I didn't see the comment, but Jim from Boston said, that is the classic ping sound. And yeah, Harvey's got one of those radios that just, it's the unaltered. Although, as you know, you can tailor the ping by doing a little bit of what we call it, the pinger size as you move your hand around the room and try not to drop the microphone. That's why the Browning microphone was so nice. It came out of that base, and it was small enough, not heavy like a D104, so easy to move it around, assuming you didn't pull the cord out of the base. All right, last call for any items of interest. The Old Tube Radio Network. And we are looking good. Let me lock the push to talk down bar, which is never a good thing for our SWLs when it's about time for me to take what we would call in the AM world an old buzzard transmission. Again, sorry for the lack of photos on the radios tonight, but again, we are here to get people on the air to hear the sound, and so if we don't have pictures, that's okay, because we have some very cool operators that take time out of their Saturday evenings. It was kind of a Browning. I mean, I don't have to tell you that the Browning Laboratories was the most heard radio tonight. With out of the 10 that we heard, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So over half, but that's okay. We like anything that will glow in the dark and show up. Sean got it started off tonight with his Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Happy to have it back on the radio table. Thanks, Harvey, for the adjustments. It was sounding really good. We followed that with Ed on his Browning Golden Mark III SSB. Also sounding good from nearby. Sean came back on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV. Unfortunately, a little bit of my noise level on the playback, but we could hear it here through the noise. So that is a testament all by itself. Radio number 4 tonight, Mr. Hustler on the E.F. Johnson TWO. The Johnson Blackface. So there were 2 Johnsons tonight. They're definitely in second place. The R27 S23 Browning Eagle. First Browning to have the Eagle name was Radio 5, thanks to Harvey. He also brought by the second E.F. Johnson radio of the evening, the Viking Messenger Whiteface, which will be heading off to another collection. So we hope it will be able to not only look good on the radio display table, but get on the air, because it sure did sound good here. And I'm sure it will sound good where it's going. Over to SWL7 for Radio 7. Mr. Ed on the Tram TR27 Echo. And Joe followed that up with the World Radio Lab Hustler. Very unique, very rare, and we're glad we've got it from World Radio Labs. Thanks, Joe. Radio number 9, Harvey on the Golden... Let me start this. The R6 from Browning Laboratories, the R68 T68 Golden Beagle Browning, and then followed up Radio 10 with the R68 T68 Golden Bagel. No locks. The Old Tube Radio Network sounding good, and thanks everybody for hanging out.
Good show, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis.
Indeed, and I think for those on the Universal Media Netwebs, we're going to have an exclusive performance since it was Eagle. It was Eagle night tonight. Let me see if we can do this. I think Espresso Trunking Company has a little ditty that they were supposed to play whenever the Eagles are running, and they were tonight. So anyway, thanks for joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network. I think tonight, at least over half of them were Golden Eagles. Thank you to the Espresso Trucking Company, and thanks for those who joins us tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network. We'll see you again next week. What do they say? Same time, same channel, assuming nothing is broken. The sunspot numbers are good. The SFI is up. The conditions are great. Go out, enjoy your radio, and think about if you're trying to do the upgrade, it will be well worth it. Lots of good frequencies open and places to go, people to see. 73, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network. Oh, and over.